Charge up your game with excitement. Highest odds on the market. Coverage of all live and pre-match events. Place your bets with solid bookmaker and win with your favorite teams. Take what's rightfully yours with GG.bet.
We're heading into the lovely action between the guys from Sprout and Optic. It is about time to figure out who's going to make it to the minor. One German team has already achieved what they were looking for, and now it is time to figure if it's going to be Murbit and his crew or the Danes to strike immediately.
Well, Zesht, I'm looking forward to seeing how things shape up in this matchup. Optic have had shaky form for quite a while, but and the fact that Sprout are kind of on an upward trend, certainly a German team that are to be kept an eye on.
Right.
I'm almost favoring Sprout coming into this. I feel like they're a team that could cause some major damage up against Optic.
They might do so. MSL, first of all, needs to hold down the Germans once they're approaching the A side. That's going to happen. And here is already that everybody's coming closer and closer, taken out together with Refresh. And so Sprout is in charge of the A side. Damage control for an Optic might come in, but with every angle checked by a Sproutling, I doubt that this is going to end successful.
They should be the ones flourishing right now, as Config at least picks up Spitty. And the shot connected by Tess says, okay, the possibility is there for this retake to work. Murbit is very low, and it's worked! Optic Gaming come into that round. I mean, Sprout had all the control. They had everything going their way with the bomb plants already down, but somehow Optic are able to pull that off, only losing one player in the process on that retake.
That's the shocking part. Losing just one in the process is extremely weird, and then in the end Sprout have to live with the defeat in that one. Eco coming in, and this match is the perfect time to quickly talk about what we're going to see today. Mirage picked by Sprout, Nuke coming a little later from the Optic side of things, and then Dust 2 is going to be our finalizer, our map that would bring us the decision who's gonna advance. As we know, few teams that we didn't expect to be kicked out of this tournament got already kicked out. And to quickly brief every viewer about how's it looking with Mirage, 20 times played by Sprout in the last 3 months, won 11 out of 20 times with victories against Big, Optic, and also teams like Force or the likes of Epsilon. And therefore, I mean, chances look quite good with Faven tapping away MSL. That's a quite bright light at the end of the tunnel.
It is indeed. Things are starting to shine for Sprout somewhat. I mean, the fact that they're making this round contestable by itself is a positive. They've got just the 4 Deagles, obviously 1 piece of armor. And if there's a player to look towards when that Deagle is out, it's definitely Faven. I'm not surprised that he's the one with the armor. We've seen him pull off literally 1v5s before over an Inferno. It was with StarLadder as well. It was absolutely incredible. And now as we move into Config, at least taking down Spitty, the push towards the B bomb site shouldn't see too much. Lots of long range angles that these Augs should dominate. But we're into a 3v3, and now the pistol's closing in the site. I mean, Tessus needs to find some kills or get some support, which Nico comes in to help out with, or else these pistols can capitalize on a lot of angles that wouldn't be covered otherwise. So Nico's in a very important position right now.
I mean, nothing should really happen. Damage control is there. Sprout, they can't make it through with Murbit. Yet again, you have to say, Optic losing 2 in such a round, it's not ideal. Far away from it, actually. And therefore, 2-0 with ease. A few casualties left and right. Sprout's now back on the buy. Searson's AWP is now a pivotal aspect for the team. Just to actually point that out, the man has a 1.17 rating in the last 3 months just with that rifle. Outside of that, though, during the qualifying matches we had for this tournament, he has been playing quite decent. Against Magnitude, 188 and 158 rating. And so, they can't stand the Force Optic. They gotta pause real quick.
Gotta
Did
take
it pull
a little
through?
bit of a breather.
Ah, damage already. If damage is already dealt before after they call it, then it's live.
I'm very confused. Yes, we get damage called by Murbit. Nico stop. MSL not live. But I'm very confused in this situation. I mean, Spread haven't confirmed that it's off. So technically the round is still being played. Keto says live.
I mean, if damage is dealt
We're having
before
an
they called
argument.
it.
Yeah, they're right. I mean, Optic are completely... Or sorry, Sprout are completely correct here. The round is live. They're playing it out as live. This is going to be a huge tilt factor for Optic.
Oh, yeah.
They're sitting down playing this around as if it's just not happening. Refresh was almost AFK on the reactions there. Swings out to try and find one, but he's taken down. You've still got MSL, AFK, and Spawn. Oh, this is going to be a big argument later on.
Yeah, I just wanted to say. It's not the nice way. I mean, I would just need to rewatch it, but obviously if damage is dealt beforehand, we don't even need to... No. Mitch? Do you know that gif of do you know that gif of a spicy? What looks a little spicy? I would call this very spicy indeed.
I mean, like it's 100%. Sprout are in the right. Now look, it's a bit BM to, I suppose, still like play the round out, even though your teammates saying, or the other team are saying they crashed, whatever. But it's also not, right? Because they tried to get the opening kill. They dealt quite a lot of damage. That's a really weird situation. MSL now saying, "Oh, this is
so
good for you." Wow.
I mean, with
God.
all due respect,
I mean, Optic are wrong here. Like Sprout took damage. That round was live. It doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter if all your PCs crash. The round is live. I don't know how they're struggling. Like, this is annoying me. I don't know how they're struggling to understand how CS:GO rules work. They've been professionals in the scene for a long time.
Yeah.
And he's calling the other team an idiot. Well, maybe read the rules, MSL.
I mean, this is really disrespect, and I really never tend to call that one out. Either way, we can discuss that after the round. In the meantime, I guess a lot of fans are in favor of Sprout right now and calling them to be hopefully winning the round. It's at that point in time, the Molly comes back on site. Faven is standing in the flames for a little too long. And two players back in kitchen. Speedy got the short control. Apartments would be the next problem that might occur for them. Now take a look at it, because they're hesitant. They all got a kit. Molly on the hands of MSL as well. And once he throws that down, it would be brilliant. But beforehand, Speedy strikes. And this B side, is it going to be retrievable is the question. He returns. And so, pretty much it. Sprout with round number 1.
So I want to watch that back and take a look at when the stop was taken. I see Nico said it. There were like 6 messages in the chat, and then Murbit said damage already. So I'm curious as to whether, because it doesn't matter if he crashed before then the damage was done. What matters is that when they call it, when they say stop the round. And I'm not sure. I didn't notice it coming in before the damage, the stop in chat. So I'm curious. I want to watch that back and take a look. If they called it before the nade went off, I mean, technically Optic are right.
Right, but I mean, we would have need to rewatch it before I 100% agree. But
get the referees out.
Yeah, but nevertheless, the behavior is, I have to say, disgusting and obnoxious.
Yeah,
it's a little bit it's a little bit like a kid on the playground where he's stealing your toy and says, "Come and go for your mommy," but you know. Yet again, Sprout picked up the first, so everything's fine. The second one seems to be on the way, because Optic hardly has anything in their hands. They invested massively into this. $100 left in the bank accounts for Tesses and Config. And as he's taken down, only 2 remain actively over on this map in this round. Hardly anything to really come up with. The competition eliminated, and Sprout with number 2 pretty much in.
And you got Nico trying to pull this one back. It's unlikely to happen. Saving through the AUG is probably his best chance, or the AK, whichever takes his fancy in this situation. And you're now looking at the hunt coming aggressively down from Favin's coming up behind. He's going to check the angle. Nico's been spotted out. Now they know exactly where he is. They've got the flank coming through T-spawn as well.
Bang, bang.
No way he gets out of that alive.
Nah, no chance at all. The pause is being called. TeamSpeak problems for the side of Sprout. I guess we leave that what just happened up to Reddit, as discussion is not on us. What we can, though, talk about is the entire bracket we have so far seen. I mean, Sprout had the German duel beforehand against Big, where you and I even casted that one. It was a fairly, not even that interesting game, which sounds very harsh, but the scorelines were not representing that. It was fairly one-sided from time to time, especially when we talk about Overpass. Then I didn't really have a problem with Magnitude, beating them 2-0. This is as expected, and now Sprout got somewhat of a tough opponent, though yet again, Optic are in a state where, first of all, I would personally say they are decreasing in performances recently, which is not that great for them, obviously. I mean, when we take a look at recent results, right? We're talking about problems against a team like we only snooze Siberia in a best of 1, or also a best of 3 loss against Sprout they had previously, struggling against teams like French Frogs or Pro Sto, which you would think, this is Optic, this is Config, this is MSL. They're not having problem against those teams.
Zesh, I want to jump in real quick one last time to adjudicate
do it.
on the pause. I went back and I watched it on slow speed, and literally, I'd say there's about 3 ticks on the server between when optics say stop and when the nade explodes. But technically, they called it before the nade exploded, so they were in the right.
Okay.
Still super rude, considering how close the timing was as well. There's no way that you would 100% know, especially as MSL obviously can't see the HUD, you can't see when the damage goes down. There's no way you would know
exactly
that
that's the thing.
The timing was that way, so no need to be that much of an ass about it, but whatever, you know, they sorted it out.
No, I do.
They're all happy and friends.
I do appreciate your research on that, and I have to say, I think the behavior is a bit more than a problem than the actual thing. In the meantime, the behavior of Config is successful for Optic to at least find the frag. This is demolishing, or at least putting some damage onto the Sprout economy. Yet again, 3 out of 5 surviving is no real issue. And just to touch on that topic yet again, Optic is extremely shaky with their performances, I really gotta say, right? Because then at ECS they pick up wins against NIP, FaZe, Fnatic. They don't even drop a map against 2 of those, and then they lose offline against Hellraisers and Aristocracy. This is it's a little confusing to that sense that you wouldn't expect it to be that back and forth and that shaky. Yet again, this is about more. I mean, surely this is online, but still, right now, 100% focus needs to be in for them. This is about a slot at the minor, and in the bigger picture, there's a lot onto them, because if you didn't read the news yet, Immortals acquired Optic, and somehow this team is right now floating in the air without putting any speculations in there.
One of the things for Sprout on Mirage that makes me favor them so much is that they very infrequently lose this map, and when they do, it's against a team that has a player just going ham.
Yeah.
Like last time they lost was versus Spirit, like a couple months back. Sumda Young dropping 30 kills. I remember that game. He was fragging like crazy. So, okay, 2-man advantage. Op misses the shot. Now Optic need to realize that they're lucky and get out of there, save their hogs over to the next round. Good choice. Over on the CT side. Oh, I thought Susan was going to get that. Thought it was going to be a quick scope. He's ready for someone else crossing over, though. And Miko's on his way. He's going to slow peek that as well. That's almost a death sentence, but he gets away with it again. 2 op shots missed by Searson in this round. That could have taken some weapons out of the hands of Optic. But yeah, I think that the thing is, you need someone on the Optic side to play like crazy, because Sprout don't tend to lose this map, simply because when you look at them, they tend to have 3 to 4 players performing really, really well. Even when we saw that game, the one I referenced versus Spirit,
right,
the real problem for them was that Favin wasn't really too present when it came to this map. He was having a bit of a slow day. And it's very, very infrequent to see that. They actually managed to steal away another weapon out of the hands of Optic towards the end. So it's 4-2 with Optic's economy not looking great. I mean, I'd be surprised if they took a buy here. It should be Pistol's armor alongside those Augs. And this gives a really nice lead to Sprout early on.
Yeah, and to actually give you a little bit of an insight on when it comes down to individuals outperforming, when we take a look at the last Mirage play, it was actually MSL who was putting down 20 frags against Mouse Sports in the qualifier in the match yesterday. And then overall, when we also take a look, for example, against Gamer Legion, the first matchup, it was Config outperforming his teammates by 10 kills overall. So yeah, the individuals going ham, this would be a pivotal factor. Sprout system might collapse to that. But if it's going to be that critical, we'll experience it. Mirage is our battlefield, and, well, the main battlefield right now is going to be the A side. As Keita takes down the first man we just talked about, already falling down. Speedy, in the meantime, punished. There's a flank initiated. Oh no.
So with Refresh taken now, Murba, the trades go in. Optic really making this weaker buy work, but the problem is they've only one player left with armor. That's Refresh. He's known to be towards the connector. So a lot of pressure falls down to the likes of Config on that Deke, and he lands two!
Oh.
There's Faven down! It's all on Searson. We've seen him be a little bit shaky on the AWP from time to time.
Oh no. He's doing that.
He's gone all the way around through Khan. They don't have a kid in play. This could really work out for him.
Yeah, the thing is they haven't even started defusing, so now the 10-second clock starts. Refresh got to hit it from start on, and he does. Searson didn't expect that Optic has the read, and the Deagle single-handedly turns things around. This opened up the A site, and Optic can capitalize on number 3. But the money on Sprout, phenomenal.
Now they have so much cash built up right now. They can get an easy buyout. The problem really for Optic, the fact that they've kind of struggled in the buy rounds, now you come up against Sprout, who, even if you do beat them, like we just saw in the previous one, you're not going to find a free round. You're going to have to fight against 1, 2, I think 3 more full buys, especially, sure, they'll have to leave the AWP out, but if they're getting bomb plants, they can consistently get rifles and some utility to work with. And Optic, on the other hand, thanks to the fact that that was a pretty weak round for them, they were planning to take the buy in this round. They just wanted to do some economy damage.
Brilliant.
Look really good. Spitty's just opened up mid completely and left it into a 5v3, which makes the chances of Optic finding this even lesser. But as we said, they won the previous round, which was a weaker buy, leaving them into a spot that they can still afford to reinvest coming into the next. So it's not like the end of the world for them, but they're definitely going to feel the hurt and allowing Sprout up to a 5-3 lead so early on.
Absolutely splendid. And as the A side is open for business, and Sprout is going to open it up there, Searson's going to get the bomb down. No real issue anymore. Refresh realization will be anytime soon. It's not worth playing the Terminator. Stay home, get the weapons through. The AUG and the AWP, so critical tools. And yet again, we also have to see, right, they can afford a full buy in the next round as well, with dropping those weapons from Tessus as well as MSL. And Tessus is a man we could touch on a little bit, as he is fairly unknown. I mean, if you're somewhat familiar with the tier 3 scene, and you have to say tier 3 scene, you know that Tessus has played under the belt of Squared, for example, under the flag of a reason, but never had his like breakout moment massively where you thought like, okay, he's gonna come in. But the fun part is, right, we always know a Danish scene with so much potential suddenly comes up with talents out of nowhere. If I remember correctly, this is just a little anecdote before we head into the round. NATO Safix used to play with Percy and Co under the LPSP or Team 1-3 tag, started to get to Sprout, had his downtime, and now he's an Heroic who unfortunately got eliminated. Yet again, definitely done an upgrade for himself, and this is where you see the Danish scene once more flourishing with new talents. But if they're going to flourish today to get another slot for that minor, not so sure about it.
Certainly not with this kind of shaky start to it. You can look towards opening duels for Sprout going hugely in their favor. Spitty's been opening 3 for 0 right now. Uncontested. Nice deep nade goes through from Tess's. Not too much to be connected. And Sprout just going to bail out of B. Making a little bit of presence early on, but the bomb's starting a rotation. They've got some mid control towards top. They know that the aggression can't come in on the ramp just yet. Use the mollies to clear behind the boxes. It looks like Waldeby taking middle control. Faven starts to fall back. Still got that player posted outside of B. I'm curious as to where they take this one. They've got a lot of options, but most likely looks to be an A hit with presence through underpass and middle. And then Faven late pushing out of ramp. I'm assuming.
That assumption seems to be somewhat right. 45 seconds are left on the clock. Faven sees the smoke directly in front of him. He remains patient while Config realizes a bit of utility thrown is towards him. The B side still defended by 2 individuals. Refresh is going to take it down. against the other young gun, and Joseph Bauman seems to move through any time soon. 25 more left on the clock. MSL strikes on the first. Speedy is not aware of somebody flanking around, and this dream might already be shattered, but Faven can turn things in favor of Sprout, and suddenly all goes green. 12 more seconds to get that bomb, retrieve it, and put it on the side. In the meanwhile, Nico strikes, and this bomb, it can still do it. It's so much pressure, though, onto Sprout. It's so problematic, and it's so under contest. Tessus, the final one. Optic surviving with 2. Sprout, as you said, coming in with buys again and again and again. 13k on both Keto and Faven. It couldn't be more ideal.
This is a spot right now. I did like what Sprout were going for on the terrorist side. Obviously, they're able to get themselves a full buyout once more, but the aggression in that round towards mid later on, they leave Faven outside of A, not making a whole lot of noise. But as soon as they start to make presence down mid, smokes in short, and they're really giving away the fact that they are going to be hitting the A site. A couple seconds before that, actually, Faven had aggressed forward on B, dropped the, I think it was Merba towards B. Dropped a Molotov through over towards the van, flashes, and that made them think, okay, you know what, this actually could be a B hit, and the B players were a little bit hesitant to start the rotation. It only gave them a couple extra seconds, but the potential to get to the bomb site was there, although it ended up not working out. Merbit now trying the same thing, in a little bit of danger, as he won't be able to use that smoke to fake out B presence, has to deploy it early on to stop himself from taking more damage to the Molotov, as he's already been lit up, and they've pushed him out of apartments, allowing potentially MSL to get a little bit aggressive. But the problem is, with the smoke down, he doesn't want to. He doesn't know if there's a player on the other side, or a couple, ready to mow him down as he does. So still a passive hold on B, which denies them any extra intelligence to be gathered. As even peeking at this point, you could go for the pixel peek, but if you did, you never know if Searson's going to be there on the AWP, posted up on the pixel angle, ready to take you down. So it's the information game is going the way of Sprout in that sense, and that their current positions aren't really known, and you're not going to see the B players rotate all too quickly and leave a solo op. But on the other side of the coin, they don't have a whole lot of info themselves, now obtaining the fact that Config is over towards Sandwich, but he's got the smokes to get himself out of there alive.
Oh, and this is a perfect flashbang that gives now Merbit the access to the A site. Only Soul Defender will be refreshed, who's waiting back on Ticket, as one after another of his teammates falls. Chances have diminished, gone down to pretty much 0, and Tessus would do himself a favor by sticking to the AUG. Nico, MSL, and Tessus are the only ones really with any sort of backup money. So he takes a while to take down Merbit, and this AWP should be eliminated by now. No CT remaining, and Sprout, they're on the number 6, and the way they accumulate money and the amount of money they have amassed by now is just absolutely insane. This is helping them so much. This is such a good cushion to actually go through this entire first half. The remaining 4 rounds should be just all theirs. 11k on Faven. There are a few ops dropped in future for Searson in case things are turning even south. And this buy, I mean, it's one AWP. See what you can do with it.
It's better than having just the USBs and the P2s, especially as it gives you that early opening. Spitty already taken out towards the top of middle. You've got presence from Sprout across the map, but again, spreading into this default. They haven't got a whole lot of info to play with. Searson's trapped towards the top of middle, has no idea if MSL's still here, peeking it from the connector, could have posted up, so exiting is going to be dangerous. He's trying to catch absolutely anybody off guard, flushing them out with utility, but that's not working. Flashbangs going down elsewhere. Sprout are starting to rotate. Searson bravely just jumps across. The flashbang might not have hit him in connector. If he turned in time, he would have been able to take Searson down on the cross. But luckily MSL had bailed out of there. Now sitting over towards the CT spawn, and he's in the perfect position to catch them off as they begin to push towards the A site.
That AWP, the sole guardian of the A site, and 4 shots to take down the rest of Sprout. This is pretty much all he needs. Goes in an aggressive stance and lets the players come out main. Keto is the second dog tag collected, and more are coming his way. Becoming more problematic though, as Searson now takes him out. No real weapon into the hands of Optic, but they have put Sprout only onto 3 players. Bomb plant inevitable. And yet again, we see a Sprout under pressure. We see a Sprout struggling, and we see a Sprout losing the bomb plant. This is once more down to only 10 seconds. Faven taking a risk as he actually thinks that both are coming over CT. He's goddamn right, and he's not going to talk them all down. Only Searson to now turn things around, and with 7 HP, under pressure he performs. And Risha is once more there when Sprout needs him. This is them now on the edge to get the first half, and Optic... My goodness, they have laid an Inferno down on A, and Sprout was nearly burnt.
The enemies of life, of plant life in particular. But luckily, Sprout aren't dry just yet. They're not flammable at all. As they're walking through the flames and finding themselves a 7 of 4. Sprout standing tall on the terrorist side early on, and now Optic Gaming, the team that technically came into this as a favorite, are not looking so hot right now on the CT side. At the moment, you can see that they've seized a little bit of middle control. MSL spotting towards lower mid in underpass with the AWP, while he's covered by Nico watching top mid and making sure no one's able to come up behind him and catch him off. Tessez is the... Oh no!
What?
Searson, was he blocked by something? He must have been walking into either his teammate or one of the objects towards the back.
That's devastating, and this could even turn worse. Merbit down to 50 points of health. Sprout, after nearly being humiliated in the previous round, this is where Optic is slamming the brakes and says no further trespassing. Sprout, 50 more seconds to now make a decision. Seems like it's more B-side heavy, and as it all leans over there on the side of Tessez, it's only down to him. I mean, if they eliminate just that player, it could be all going right. His AWP is just ready, but Merbit is just 100% on it. Bomb's gonna be planted, and a 2 versus 3 retake scenario without a single kit.
This could be dangerous, the position Favin's found himself in. Up close and personal, flashbang goes through, he catches MSL on the AWP, he couldn't quite see him, Favin swings out.
I don't know.
Couldn't see refresh, camouflage. Oh! And as Merbit tries to pull it off. One on the board, can he get refresh? Time ticking down, refresh is on the back foot, has to peek eventually, and Merbit knows it. Taking the head off at 8-4, the head is firmly off of Optic, as they now run around like headless chickens with pistols, at least you would imagine, as this economy doesn't allow them to get a full buyout. They're fiscally broke as Sprout are flourishing.
And this qualifier has been weird for Merbit already, and actually in a good way. He's usually the sort of support/lurk individual on the Sprout side, takes care when it's time. Just flank, backstab, and come in with a right bit of utility. So far, he's in the top 8 of this tournament with a 1.22 rating so far. You saw a few comments in the German community saying that he might be not the right tool, that he sometimes underperforms. But this is a pressure qualifier. This is where the best of Europe unite to fight for 8 slots overall. And Sabit is 100% ready to dominate his opponents. Tessez as well as MSL, hardly standing a chance. One knocking on the back door anytime soon. But I guess no gifts for him.
Well, he did have a steaming hot bullet rolling his way for free. Then 9-4. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't want one, but some people maybe enjoy it. I don't know. The 9-4 that we currently see coming through, I'm feeling pretty good for Sprout. Their CT side has never stood out to me as being particularly weak on this map. If anything, I would have been okay with them walking away with the likes of 6 rounds and still felt pretty confident in their abilities. So the fact that they've managed to flip that scoreline around, the potential 9-6 at best for Optic, is looking grim, but at least MSL comes through with 1. And one thing we can talk about is momentum. If Optic Gaming win this round and the next, at least they start to build up a little bit of a storyline for themselves. We've said this before, like, we started out slow, but now we've got it, boys, don't worry. Nice angle for Nico, but Keto's actually watching it, so RIP.
And as he fades away in a sniper's nest, failure coming in for MSL as he takes down 2 with a bullet. And this leaves Keto in a situation that should not be retrievable. But as I close my mouth, maybe his shots are coming in hot, but a bullet in the back is all he gets. And so Optic finally with a sign of life again. The 5th round is there, and Optic actually a team with the somewhat low sample size we have regarding this map. 65% of the rounds they have all won on this specific map in the last 3 months were on the CT site. They were so successful when they're defending. So, I mean, you would expect a lot more from them right here. Maybe they can turn things around once we switch sides, but first of all, we need to realize, and we need to find out, Sprout double digits, or Optic getting on the 6th?
As MSL opens it up and takes Faven down, you're into a 5v4, so it's looking like Optic are going to be the ones taking the 6th. They have a pretty decent conversion rate whenever they find the opening duel, specifically on the CT side. Now as we move towards the B bomb site, 3 players there. They're inching forward, but little do they know. MSL, he's locked in on the AWP. He's watching short where no aggression will come through, but watch out for Spitty. Okay, he's already taken down. The flank attempt from Sprout doesn't happen at all. Leaving it into a 3 versus 5. The position not spotted from Tessez just yet. Ooh. Finds one. MSL's there to trade, but he's taken down. Leaving it into a retake situation. Searson's in a... Does he not know he's in a Molotov? He's 20 HP. Absolutely destroyed by it. He should be an easy kill by the Augs, but he posts up on the angle. He takes Nico down. The AWP on low HP. It's kind of a decent trade. Brings it into a more even fight. Now Searson's got to try to pull it off. He's being pushed from kitchen, though. The window... Oh, Refresh doesn't actually peek the window. Of course, no, when he's up against a knob, he doesn't want to peek this alone, knowing the bomb isn't down either. Just by his movement, I thought he was going to take that risky play, but it doesn't happen. And that's the problem, right? The only way Searson wins this is if Optic make a mistake.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, 20 points of health, no margin for error. Config immediately punishing Searson then. And you talked about momentum. Optic gained it right here. From the possibility of going 11-4, it's 9-6. But very honestly, you can't call that dramatic. You can't call that so overly problematic. As Sprout tends to deliver when it comes down to the CT site. For example, a little ideal one to show. Against Big, they have obtained their 16-10 victory by 8 rounds over on the CT side, leaving the German colleagues no room to breathe. And now Sprout, with a pistol round going their way, you might see them going fully in the right direction. On the driver's seat on the German Autobahn, you would imagine that they go left lane full speed. So far, a few speed traps were on the way, but Faven might be the one to now go ham. And if there's a man you would like to see defend the bomb site, it is most of the time Faven. A few failed shots coming in, and pressure now high for Speedy and his teammate Searson as they're pushing down onto him. No real damage dealt. The bomb has hit the ground, and this kid on Speedy is so important for the future of this round.
What is that shot from Searson? Nico's head just got ripped off. He was caught by surprise, but it didn't matter. The flashbang isn't effective as up close and personal, those P250s shred them to pieces. Config in there in a second. He's being pushed down. Faven on the corner. Refreshes here, though, to peek out and find the backs. Maybe actually just straight into the head of Murbit. Faven locked in towards the connector. They know exactly where he is. Peeking out into the P250 and not finding any shots connecting. That is 4 men left alive in the 3K for Config in the pistol round. If there was a time to get momentum, or if there was a way to get momentum, that was it from Optic.
That was actually yesterday where Sprout saw Keto on $7,000, and they actually intended to do an eco. He was asking them, yo, you mind if I buy an AWP? He did, and then killed everybody from Magnitude back on Mirage in middle. Fun little story. Today, he's not able to achieve that. He's not able to buy up the AWP, except he would take a little loan from $1 million. Worth $1 million. Either way, should be no real problem for Optic to obtain the 8th, and then overall get the tie rolling for themselves. Now as the aggressors, they're not really allowed to do any mistakes, because, well, Sprout should feel very comfortable, like at home, playing on the CT side. And slowly and steady, moving towards Speedy, he hears all the steps, or he should have heard steps coming his way. Tess is going to be the perfect supporter for MSL. And once he tends to swing wide, things might look a little darker, but ignore Speedy. No! Oh! No, Speedy! That was the Zeus you just heard. And he failed.
Chance. He had the
no.
chance. They weren't even looking. He was within range. They weren't looking, and he just shot off. I assume he missed, or he shot a little bit too early. But either way, you're. Man, that kill could have been a massive game changer. I feel so bad for him, but it's into a 2 versus 3. Deagle for Favin alongside the armor. We talked about this young talent when he's got that Deagle armor out. He's the player you want to see. He knows Refresh is here. He sees the barrel of the gun. As he peeks out, though, Refresh is coming out on top. The wall bangs light Favin down so low, and Searson with the scout wants to save it to the next round. But why? He has money, because the rest of his team don't, and they'll have pistols in the next round, meaning that the scout can be so impactful. If he can tag up 2 or 3 players, the pistols will tear them to pieces, and then they have a huge advantage coming into it. It's a small percentage chance. It probably only leaves you about like a 10% round win opportunity if they buy up P2s and armor. Not probably higher than that even, probably 20 or 30, but it at least quadruples your chances having that scout to back up those pistols, because it is just so strong to be able to light them down to 1, at most 2 hits by pretty much every pistol.
Do you say P250 or P250? Just
P250.
Okay. You think it's illegit to say P250?
Yeah, it's too long.
Okay.
P250.
P250. Okay. Well, that P250 are obviously in the hands of Keto as well as Speedy.
Oh, I like it. You're rhyming. Keep it going.
I'd rather not.
P250. Here comes Speedy.
Well, at the end of the day, the only thing that matters for Sprout is getting a few nice pistol shots. Because right now, the only thing that they would need is to hurt the opponent's economy. MSL already coming in from behind. Sirason's scout, which you have praised so much, is going to be eliminated. Mactan now in the hands of Faven. Hard to imagine he's going to make a difference, but you should never say never, as poets of our site said, and as poets of our time has never to be proven wrong. Now Sprout will probably be proven wrong.
With the low HP on Refresh, at least they can maybe find 1 more kill coming into this. A 5-7 and a scout. If Optic makes some mistakes, overextend a little bit, they could lose a lot more in this round than they're ready to. As the scout tag goes in, now Nico and Refresh are both easy targets for Murbit. Of course, he doesn't have armor. But the other thing this means is that they have to exit aggressively from the bomb site to get away from the explosive radius. Although Spitty isn't able to connect a follow-up kill, if Murbit gambles correctly, he could catch a couple of frags on the exit and just make this a more costly round. That's the real objective. Coming up close. Config has got his back turned. Okay. They didn't have site control anymore, so he was a little bit worried about them pushing out. And with 2 players low HP, there's no way they can hunt. So you can see the benefit that this scout has given them in the sense that they literally cannot get aggressive. Even though they have the economy to do so, Murbit could easily catch them off guard by holding an angle they're not expecting, and they wouldn't have time to react. They'd be dead straight away.
And taking a look at the scoreboard real quick, a very balanced affair over there on Optic, which is in most cases a quite good sign that you are not relying on 1 or 2 individuals carrying you through, and once their engine has turned off, you're falling down entirely. Sprout now on the bye, with Searson on the AWP and the Ox coming out as well. The mid control once more is going to be a pivotal aspect, as the smokes are thrown from Optic. It's a bit of early control, and they leave window quite unattended. So Searson back on connector. Feels though a little afraid. Too much pressure coming his way. Too many nades that have been thrown. In the meantime, Refresh is ready for Faven overextending. Optic doing well with getting round number 19 in their direction early on.
Yeah, that opening duel coming through for them looks pretty Gucci. As the aggression comes towards the bomb site, Keto's got an opportunity to shut them down. Oh no! MSL was scoped in! He couldn't see, and Tessez didn't really have an angle through his body. Completely torn apart now. The man advantage goes awry for Optic. And they're left with 3 players trying to recover this. Refresh at least takes down Spitty over towards the connector, but Keto keeps on fragging on short. Refresh in with another. He's trying to pull this round off all by himself. 3 kills on the board, but everybody's falling all around him. Nico's only got 10 HP left. And Refresh isn't looking all too healthy either. With the bomb dropped open on short, it's hard to imagine them winning this to Kobe. Yes, it hits. Nico's gone. Refresh can ace this, though. He just needs to hit the headshots. Nobody has damage-dealing utility left. So if he lands the first bullets, never mind.
Never mind.
It's 10-9. Sprout in the round.
Akita with major impact in number 19 as Optic got a brilliant entry. Free Fresh guarding the entry of Palace. Yet again, problems certainly started to occur. A minor mistake on short that gave Quito the advantage. And so the first timeout for Optic, it's time to talk about it. What I think we could mention here at this point is that this not being their map pick, they're doing quite well, putting Sprout in situations they don't find too comfortable very often. As the wins, though, from Optic were outside the one of Mousesports, where they beat them 16-8, not so impressive. I mean, beating Alternate 16-6, No Chance 16-5, X-Base Soldier 16-6. On paper speaking, that's not too impressive. Yet again, they seem to be 100% in it when it comes down to a B. A beast is a little too much, but definitely a strong team on Mirage. 19 times Sprout has played this part in 20 and won it 11 out of 20 times. A 55% win ratio with actually being extremely CT-sided. We haven't seen too much of that CT-sided yet, as they are struggling to keep Optic under control. They've done it in the previous one, but it wasn't just a one-time thing.
Refresh spots out Favin up aggressive. And at this point, I think Favin's going to be bailing on back. Doesn't want to stay around Palace for all too much longer, but Nico goes down. Searson with the opening duel. The trade not there as Spitty comes through with 2. The round is almost already in the graveyard. MSL's been doing really well early round. He's 5 for 2 in opening duels. This time managing to trade back one of his teammates, but the problem is he's actually trading back 3, as so many have already died that even with that frag, Sprout have a huge advantage of double the numbers that Optic have. And that's even without mentioning the fact that the bomb is down aggressively on the ramp, and to push out and retrieve it will require them facing at least 3 angles, all of which have got counter-terrorists ready to spring their trap from. That flashback's so well timed as well.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, Refresh can just pray to the Lord and hope that the bullets will just whiff around his body left, right, and center, doing a bit of a Matrix cosplay. And as he waits down ramp, already a flank that seems to come in from Quito. Doesn't need to overextend, he could just deny him any further access, but 28 seconds. He would have enough time to sneak down ramp in case he feels like it. What we have to put our eyes on is pretty much the economy of Sprout. They can't really allow to lose too many individuals. Talking just about that, it's only Spitty. But Free survive, that means the majority. And that's all looking fine. Sprout can send a weapon to Faven and his teammate Spitty, all looking good. And Optic, a reasonable eco is going to come in. 12-9 it's going to be then for Sprout from how likely it's going to be. I mean, it would be pretty much winning lotto in case Optic is really getting this round. But with the Glocks, you don't really imagine that's going to happen.
Not in your wildest of dreams. As they push towards the B-bomb site quite aggressively, they're still sending 2 players down underpass early on. Perhaps hoping to catch one of the Sproutlings getting aggressive there, but that's not the case. Playing a little bit more passive, but Spitty just obliges, goes out in the open, flashes through, and the kills are going their way. No problemos, I say, as Spitty falls to the ground. Searson comes through with another 2, and that should be the round closed out. Tessus has got a Glock. One more kill would be nice, but even that is a little bit overambitious. Doesn't receive too much damage from the nade, but the MP9, the headshot from it, is sure to oblige.
I mean, I didn't necessarily like the move from Searson there, as he was getting out of window, putting him basically on a pedestal out in the open. And again, I mean, his op accuracy is good enough to then eliminate the Optic player directly underneath his feet. And here are the AKs. Here are all the smokes. The utility is looking good on Optic. And now they need to see if they found a weakness in the setup of Sprout yet, where they think they can capitalize on. With that mid flashbang coming in, Zeroson is hitting his first. His op strikes, but fails on the second attempt. That's a little unfortunate, but thankfully you got Quito, and he is the second line of defense that keeps Optic away from taking further more control. A nice try, a good bit of utility thrown down, but in combination, Sprout's system seems somewhat flawless, and this is going to be pretty much round number 13, except Nico is going to show us his most heroic performance.
I loved how Keto just reacted so quickly. As soon as that smoke went down, he was up beside it, hugging it, waiting for someone to push through. And Optic, as they'd already lost the man advantage and a bit of a team flash came through. I think MSL flashed himself, in fact. They didn't really have the manpower to be spamming through that smoke and standing there while there were still threats to deal with. They pushed through the smoke to try and take that connector player down, but Keto's waiting there to eliminate him. And a really nice round played out for Sprout, 13-9. And it's a position where, look, at least, like you said earlier, Optic are making this map close. They're not getting stomped out on it. But if they do want to have any hope of winning it, and not just have a little bit of morale boost coming into the next one, they need to find the next round. It's super important, and what's even more important is to start doing damage. Sprout's economy's out of control. 2 kills come in. Keto starting to aggress on short again. Catches Config and leaves Nico to pull it off. 1 versus 5. And the fact that Sprout have survived... Oh my god, triple peeking it. Sprout have survived last round with 5 players alive. The previous 2, they had 4, and the one before that, 3. Look at their economy. It's absolutely flourishing. Like, there's no way that they face an eco for quite a while. And that's a huge problem for Optic, because they don't even get to close this scoreline in for free. It's going to be like, if they keep winning rounds, it's like 14-11 before they see even a weak buy from Sprout. And that's worrying.
Looks like typical German money management. But Optic
no Greek teams here.
You said that. Sorry. You said that. I didn't do that. Well, the good part here for Sprout is they're taking early control towards the B side, or more likely the B apartments. That seems to be a mistake from Speedy. Yes, indeed. Nico with a perfect reaction as he takes down the 2 aggressors over on B. Fatal mistake for Sprout, as this is costing them the life of 2. The round looked initially like it would be brilliant and amazing for Sprout, but Optic said to Sprout, it's our time now. And we saw comebacks, yesterday especially. We saw comebacks that seemed somewhat crazy. With Faven falling next, only Keto can be the hero, but as much as he performed here, I don't believe it.
No, this is not looking like a likely round for him as he runs right into the sights of MSL. That becomes even less likely. 14-10, Optic recover that round. Now you see the investment coming through from Sprout once again. As we said though, 14-11 will give Sprout a slightly weaker buy where they should struggle to get, and they don't even because Favon has so much cash to play with, so he can get the op out for his teammates. So it's actually 14-12 by the time they see a benefit. So 2 more full buys in a row have to be won out. The pause comes through there. I don't have the chat open, I have to go to console. I just pause. Okay, so presumably a tactical pause for Optic. And I can understand it in a way, but not in a way. Look, it makes sense to call it tactical pause here. It's a really important round. Obviously, if you lose this, you're again fighting only for an overtime. The thing is, though, they need to really, really be careful about the next 2 rounds because they're going to be a huge uphill battle, and losing even one of them means that then you're only fighting for an OT and you still have to win 3 to 4 rounds in a row.
Right.
Before that's possible. So there's a lot of pressure on them right now.
I mean, I hate to correct you, but it's technical. Yet again.
Oh, is it?
It is.
Just says pause for me.
No worries. No worries.
I'm sad now.
You don't have to be.
They've been having some issues. I think they had TeamSpeak issues earlier on.
Yeah, they had some issues earlier on. You could also config's PC crashing when we had this somewhat controversial round, but a win for Sprout here wouldn't be controversial. Optic don't necessarily need to worry about it, to say it that way. The experience Sprout has recently gained, the new energy with Keto coming in, that gave them a phenomenal boost. An Optic's roster change that also happened not too long ago, or if you can call it the roster change yet officially, that's a different sort of thing. Yet again, it's only 2 more rounds for Sprout, and Optic, they're gonna fight big time, and this is a push that immediately goes down to the side of A. Seems like the smoke wall has worked near perfect, but there's a tiny gap. Speedy tries to work around it, but the bomb's going down nevertheless, and this means that the Germans need 1 consummate and perfect retake, and it starts off good with taking out the flanker Nico.
Optic, though, have got that bomb down. MSL still in the AWP, and we commented earlier, he's been doing really well in opening duels. It's continued to be so, but the kills keep coming through for Sprout. MSL in the open. He's lit down so low. The other players on ramp as well, effectively the same angle. Refresh hiding down. He's just been spotted exiting as well. They know exactly where he is. Pete coming through. Nice shot connected. Refresh with 2 beautiful headshots, but it's not enough. Sprout taking now 15-10. And they're on the verge of winning. On a solid now. And Optic, on the other hand, they're able to get a full buyout, but they've got to win 5 in a row.
Yeah.
And so far, they've only managed to achieve that no times. The most they've managed to achieve was 3. Technically 5 in a row because they won the last 2 of the previous half and then the pistol, but that doesn't really count. We're talking about full buy rounds. And the one thing, though, the one small positive I'll give them is that they have now started to deal a lot more damage in the rounds they're losing. So the opportunity to do it is kind of there. If they win this one, Sprout will have lower money on some of their players.
And just talking about it. Here comes the first damage from Faven. Optic with a brilliant push in the previous round where they unfortunately couldn't hold the site then. And as it is a 3 versus 3, we see wounded individuals over there on Optic. MSL eliminated. Keto capitalizes on exactly that. And 115 points of health, now going to be less left for Optic to make it work. It seems like a near impossible task. But if you got the will, you can do it. And slowly and steady, Keto has spotted the first Faven peeks out when needed. And that's going to be Mirage going the way of Sprout. The Germans, they have found success over here on their mapping. Next up, well, we're going to see how the lads from Optic going to perform on Nuke. But we'll head into a little break. Don't go anywhere. We'll just be right back.
Charge up your game with excitement. Highest odds on the market. Coverage of all live and pre-match events. Place your bets with Solid Bookmaker and win with your favorite teams. Take what's rightfully yours with GG.bet.